Of course, here is the extended version of the first scene without a title. A fine rain was drizzling, running down the glass storefronts and flooding the sidewalks. People hurried by, pressing their umbrellas to their shoulders, never lifting their eyes. Amid this cold bustle, at the corner of a large shopping center, sat a little boy. His name was Artyom. He wore a thin torn sweater, light pants not fit for the weather and old sneakers. In his hand he clutched an empty paper cup, hoping that someone passing by might drop in at least a couple of coins. But no one even looked in his direction. The cold crept under his clothes, and hunger twisted his stomach. He had not eaten since yesterday morning, when a half-eaten sandwich had been thrown out in a cafe. He managed to catch it first. Artyom did not complain. He knew pity would not help here. He simply waited, sometimes smiling at people, hoping that someone would smile back. But more often than not, instead of a smile he saw disgust or indifference. He was part of the city's landscape. Invisible, unwanted, forgotten. Yet it was on this gray day that something was about to happen that would turn his fate around. At that moment, a black expensive car stopped at the curb. Out stepped a man in a fine coat with a business briefcase in hand. His name was Nikolai Alexeyevich, a successful businessman, owner of a large chain of restaurants. He was rushing to an important meeting, glancing at his watch. As he walked past Artyom, the boy, as usual, lifted his eyes and politely, though hopelessly, said, "Good afternoon, sir. Excuse me. Maybe you have something to eat." Nikolai slowed his step for a second. Normally he never even looked at such children, but this time he stopped. His gaze lingered on the boy's face. It was dirty, but in his eyes there was no pleading, only a strange, almost grown-up calm. "Are you here alone?" he asked, surprising even himself. "Yes, always," Artyom nodded. "Where are your parents?" "I have no one," the boy answered shortly, lowering his eyes. Something stirred inside Nikolai. He remembered his own childhood, difficult, cold, fatherless as well. Perhaps that very moment made him do something he had never done before. He took out his wallet, but instead of just tossing money, he reached out his hand. "Come with me. I have a restaurant nearby, it's warm there and the food is good. You don't mind, do you?" At first Artyom thought it was a trap. He slowly stood up, hardly believing this was really happening. His hands trembled not so much from the cold as from the suddenness. He did not know what awaited him, but he went. And with that step, his new fate began. They entered the restaurant. It was warm and cozy. Artyom stepped inside awkwardly. The gleam of chandeliers, the soft furniture, and the aromas of food made his head spin. He was afraid to breathe. Guests in expensive clothes glanced at him with surprise, some even with contempt. But Nikolai firmly led him to the coziest table by the window. "Bring the very best," he said shortly to the waiter, ignoring the whispers around them. Artyom ate silently, but with such gratitude and restraint that Nikolai felt stranger and stranger. This child did not beg, was not pushy. He was grown up, far too grown up for his age. "How old are you?" Nikolai asked quietly. 10. "But I've been on my own for a long time," Artyom answered calmly. "Where did you sleep yesterday?" "Under the stairs, there's no draft there." And then, without even debating it with himself, Nikolai made a decision. He called someone and said, "I need a lawyer immediately. I am taking custody of a boy. His name is Artyom." Artyom did not understand what was happening. For the first time in a long while his eyes filled with tears. He tried to say something, but Nikolai only smiled. "Hush, it's all right now. You will be safe. You deserve a chance and I want to give it to you." What he did not yet know was how much Artyom would change his own life. Because the boy he had saved would soon be the one who, at a critical moment, would save Nikolai himself. Several months passed. Artyom now lived in Nikolai's huge house, went to school, and for the first time in his life slept in a warm bed. He was still not used to the luxury, but with each day he came more alive. Smiling became his natural state. Nikolai became not just his protector, but almost a father. But one evening before an important business meeting, Nikolai felt a sharp pain in his chest. He barely made it to his car and got behind the wheel, deciding he could drive himself. But after a couple of blocks the pain grew worse. He could hardly breathe. The car swayed. Nikolai lost control, and disaster would have followed if not for Artyom. The boy had by chance seen Nikolai get into the car in a strange state. Something told him to follow. He quickly got on his bicycle and rode after him. Just in time, when Nikolai lost consciousness, Artyom rushed ahead, stopped the car, shouted for help, and called an ambulance. "Please hold on. You can't die, you're my only one," Artyom cried, gripping the man's hand. The ambulance is coming, everything will be fine. At that moment Nikolai weakly opened his eyes, looked at Artyom and whispered, "You saved me. Now we are even." "Yes," Artyom smiled faintly. The man was taken to the hospital in time. The doctors said if help had not come within 5 minutes, he would have died. And everyone was astonished that this rescue came from a street boy who had once begged for alms himself. Their fates intertwined not because one was rich and the other poor, but because in both of them burned a heart capable of true loyalty and love.